Hey everyone, I'm Dave Putz. Good afternoon, everyone. And alongside me, Mr. Nathan Turner. How are you, Nathan?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Good, man. It looks like you're not home relaxing at your desk. Where are you?
I am actually in Dallas, Texas right now, cooking. It is so stinking hot. Yeah, I'm here at a dental conference. I'm out looking for
Oh,
investors.
oh, we thought maybe you're trying to get your
So
teeth done. Dental conference. Interesting. Well, hopefully you become successful down there and convince these awesome people with a lot of money to do some work with you.
that's the
Congrats, man.
plan. That's the plan. Yeah.
So it's been an interesting few months for those who are brand new to our live stream and our videos. This will be recorded, posted on YouTube and our podcast. In the last 8 months, you and I have done a lot of work with seller finance, owner finance, wrap notes, subject twos, Armalo world.
Yeah.
And I think one of the greatest things you said our last webinar was that you're amazed how so many people who are note originators or seller finance or creative finance people does not know about note buyers.
Yeah. I'm astounded. And part of that I think comes from my background. I started off as somebody creating notes as well. And my whole intent at that time was I started creating these notes, and then my thought process immediately went to, okay, how do I cash out of these? Surely there's got to be a way, like you can sell a rented property, so surely you can sell a note. I didn't even know it was called a note at the time, but that's okay. I figured there's got to be a way to cash out of these.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I went looking for note investors. And so I don't know, I guess I assumed everybody was doing that. But we've been surprised to find out how many of these note creators don't know that we're out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. And I think that it's either lack of education, lack of knowledge, or just a different world, right? We are in a different world than most of the people out there that
Yeah.
they just don't get what we do.
Right.
And we're trying to help that community not only understand the exit strategy of selling that note that they created, but also understand what's needed to sell it for the highest dollar,
Yeah.
right? To make it a win-win for you as well as for us, to make sense for both of us. And I think that's a key element for everything to happen successfully to bridge this huge gap together.
Yeah.
And in two things that we have coming up, one is sooner than the other. For those people who are curious about the note investing space, Nathan and I are rehosting our 5-week advanced level training for note investing, which include a calculator, a non-performing calculator, due diligence. So if you're a note originator and curious what note buyers do, that class is a key element. It's an advanced class, so it does get rid of the basics. And Nathan and I are running for 5 weeks. I highly encourage you guys to check that out and be part of that small group of investors.
Yeah.
What are the other ways these note originators, seller finance, subject to people, how else can they connect with us next May, June?
Well, let me back up for the class. First of all,
Yeah.
it is an advanced class, but anybody who's creating notes, you qualify as advanced. If you've
Yes.
got a knowledge of how notes work because you've created them, you definitely you're part of that advanced group. So don't be intimidated by that because
Sure.
that's you're definitely part of that group. On top of that, though, if you want to come and meet with Dave and I and a dozen other note investors or more,
Many dozens.
several dozen people who are in notes, people who are looking to buy notes. Um, we've got an amazing conference, the Diversified Mortgage Expo. I just took it over this last year, ran our first one in Nashville in June this last year. The next one is already being planned. We're already making all kinds of plans for this. We're scheduled to go back to the same hotel in Nashville next year, May 31st and June 1st. So heads up, tickets aren't even on sale yet, but just heads up for that. Make sure you
Yeah.
put it in your calendar so you don't want to miss it. It's the place to be to just network. We did our survey at the end of conference, and just one of the questions we asked was, what's the most valuable thing that you took from this? And like 90% of them all just said networking.
Yeah.
So It is super important. We've said this over and over again about this is a relationship business. Part of that is getting out
Yep.
and meeting people and talking with them, want to have dinner together, drinks together, whatever. That's a big deal.
Sure. So yeah, I encourage you highly. We had some of the more advanced subject to people come to our conference or not mine, Nathan's conference last year.
Yeah.
And the names we had there, I'm sure all of you guys either follow or took their trainings. They joined us. They're probably on the call right now. The Nick, Mark Monroe, and Brian Carlson, all those people out there, Dan Diaz, who are great leaders in that space, came and said, "Oh my God, I got to have my people come next year to this." It's a great wealth of information. So I would encourage you to do both. Get into the advanced class. We're starting September 5th. Take a look at that. If you need information, it's on our website or on my website, jkpholdings.com/advanced note investing, or just shoot us an email. We'll get to you. And then the DME is also there, which we can connect you to. So feel free to reach out, branch together, connect with us, and let's make some money together, right? So one of the things we've come across,
there's videos available.
Yes, we have videos available of last year's.
Available
Yep.
For the last year, which are great.
Yep.
They're good quality. The sound is really great. You're going to be able to follow it very, very well, and get some great education that way. It's really inexpensive way to get kind of caught up to speed. What you don't get there is the networking. So make sure you sign up for this.
We are live on Facebook, LinkedIn, I think Instagram, Twitter. So right now I'm putting the chats onto those platforms. If you missed it, let us know. But you can definitely check out all those information. So we want to make sure that you guys all get what we're doing here, right? This whole space of note investing is a huge thing for all of us. But what we don't realize is that it is also available for those people who may not want to sell their note. What they may want to do is hold a note.
Yeah.
And we've talked about wrap notes being a little hard to sell because you have an underlying buyer, a borrower that you have a connection with, and things like that. So we want to make sure that we solve that problem for those people who have originated a note that either took over existing borrower's asset, subject to, then sold that property to what we call a wrap buyer. So it's a wrap note, and they sold to them. That system is great. We just want to make sure that if we go ahead and bought that note, we want to avoid the complexities of that purchase. So one of our ways of doing that is we can buy the whole note and work out the power of attorney and stuff like that, which we have webinars previously about that. Or we can actually give you money for a period of time and lend you the money. So what we do is instead of giving you the money, you give us a note, you keep the note and you use the note as collateral and use our money to do whatever you want to do with it. We would tell you that we would first want you to pay off that underlying lien. We know it's 3%. We know that frustration, but we have other videos. Why? It makes it simpler for us, but we can work out the details if you have a situation that's specific for you. Given that, this idea, which we did a video on note partials versus hypothecations a while back, is what we call hypothecation, which means you're borrowing money using the note as collateral. The note never changes hands, and we just create a brand new note, right? This concept's been around for a while. We just never heard anyone really use it. Well, guess what? We're using it. So we did put our toes in the water, and we tested this out. And what you may find out is really interesting because it became a win-win for both sides. They unlocked equity, they were able to save a property, and we got a return that would make sense for us. So let me switch out here. Nathan, anyone to talk before we bring our guest of honor on?
No, I'm really excited about this. I haven't tried this yet. I'm really interested in it. You and I have gone over some numbers on it. It makes sense, even when I'm borrowing money, to do this. So
yeah, awesome.
I'm still learning this too. So I'm excited to have our guest on.
Yeah.
And
So I'm gonna bring him in right
a
now.
little bit more.
I realize that we're gonna bring him on here now. He just got introduced to us a few weeks ago. So I do have to change his name real quick, but Joe, welcome to the program, man. I appreciate you jumping on with us this Friday afternoon. While I get your situation fixed out here, I hope all is well with you. What's new with you, my man?
Nothing much, man. How y'all doing? What's
Good.
I don't know about this guest of honor thing because I've been in this world for a good little minute, but like you said, I'm one of those guys that didn't even know y'all existed, and I've been doing these, these rap notes for a long time. You even had to tell me what rap note was because that blew my mind as well. So I was saying, just networking is key to everything. So was saying, I'm honored to be here with y'all.
That's awesome. Well, it's been an awesome pleasure for us to really interact with you and talk with you. So Joe, tell us your background. Where did you get started with real estate? How'd you get introduced to real estate in the beginning?
I started out like just like any regular home buyer. Was saying I bought my house and then the house next door went up for sale, bought it, turned into a landlord. And then from a landlord, bought another house, refinance, which rents, wash, repeat. Next thing you know, I have a small portfolio. Then I started to get into investing. But I'm a property manager. I've been doing this for about 20. We're gonna say 20 years because I'm not gonna show too much gray. So
that's awesome. That's awesome.
You like being a landlord, Joe?
Landlord's good. I'd rather be the bank. I'd rather service was saying landlords are good until I found out there was a better way by just investing in the note side and originating the notes.
Yeah. So
absolutely,
being the bank is what we're all about, right? Banks don't own REOs and properties and have that kind of liability. We're not saying it's bad. We're just saying we have an other way of doing this, right? And Joe, it was funny because when we first started talking, I said, well, do you own a wrap note? And you said, no. And we said, well, did you use W2? Yes. Did you sell it? And you said, yes. He says, well, we could call it a wrap note. What did you call it for all this time you've been doing it?
Selling my position. What's saying?
Okay.
I sell my position. So
right. So it's funny you say that because
all right, cool.
We all have different words for different things, and whoever you teach may just change it just a tad, right? So what we learned about wrap notes and subject twos is that they're very intricacy to build that kind of platform, right? To know what goes into it is you have to be very educated on how to create that subject twos and what you need to make sure that's a legal document. Would that be accurate?
Yep, definitely.
Okay. It's amazing, right? Because there's mortgages, deed of trust in Texas, right? In certain states, and there's land contracts. What have you mostly created when you sold your position, right? What have you mostly created for your security instrument when you sold that asset?
9 times out of 10, I'm creating a land contract, an agreement for deed. Was that unless there is no underlying mortgage, then I can create a deed of trust off that. But I got to get a mortgage origination person for that. Gotcha. But me personally, land contracts. That's what I specialize in.
Gotcha.
And this was in Texas, Joe?
No, I'm in Virginia.
Okay.
Yeah. So being in Virginia, land contracts, for those who don't know, we call them contract for deeds. Sometimes they're called lease options. They're a little different, but same kind of concept, right? This idea of you selling your security and then the borrower has to pay off the entire debt before getting the deed. Where a mortgage, you get the deed up front, right? Kind of like you do like a car kind of purchase where the title of the car is held until the whole loan's paid off. So tell us a little bit more about how you got introduced to subject twos. How did you learn about them? Did you have a mentor? How did you learn about them?
Well, naturally, was as far as the initial learning about them, it started, back at we're talking years and years ago, but Rich Dad Education, YouTube University, just hearing about these different things, and I didn't believe it. That you could sit there and get a property like that. So everything that I heard on the internet, I went and paid an attorney to research it, make sure it was legal. And, when I, to my surprise, found out it was. I mean, granted, attorneys are not your friends. They're not going to do it for free. So I learned things at $200 and $300 an hour. But, after about 20 hours of education from an attorney, it pretty much, I created documents just like the attorney would have created it. And I learned the legal side of it before I learned the investing side of it.